Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Today's episode, we are talking about Reiki frequently asked questions. We're going to talk about how Reiki and the chakras are used together. We're going to talk about Reiki being able to benefit you in your mental health and Reiki being able to benefit you with your physical health. So let's get into it. How does Reiki and the chakras work together? I'm going to do a little intro on kind of what the chakras are and then explain kind of how Reiki and the chakras work together. So essentially, we as people have 7 chakras. Everything from the crown chakra, which is your connection to the divine, connection to God, your third eye chakra, which is your connection to intuition, psychic abilities, medium abilities, all of those different things. There's your throat chakra that allows you to feel comfortable just talking, sharing ideas, sharing feelings, being honest, being open, being vulnerable. There's the heart chakra that's actually in the middle of your chest rather than in the traditional heart space. And the heart chakra is focused on your ability to give and receive love, your ability to feel accepting of love, your ability to give self-love, your ability to give unconditional love, all of those different aspects of the human experience. Then in about your middle stomach, you have your solar plexus, and your solar plexus a lot of times is going to be where your stress, where your anxiety, where your responsibilities, maybe they get built up, and that can cause maybe you to have some tummy issues. We always say the anxious girlies have tummy issues. It could be out of alignment solar plexus. Then from there you have your sacral chakra, which is more kind of in the area of where your hip bones are. And then the sacral area is going to be your connection to self, to sex, to self-love, to body image, all of those different things. Just learning to truly love and accept yourself and your body for who you are, rather than maybe like, oh, I'll love myself when I look like this, or when I weigh this amount, or whatever that looks like. Then last chakra is going to be your root chakra. Your root chakra is going to be think of it as your stability chakra. So if your finances, your relationships, your career, if it's out of whack, you're going to feel a little bit wonky because you don't have a solid base. So think of the root chakra as essentially the base that's keeping you stable throughout life. So that's a little breakdown of the 7 chakras within the body. And how Reiki is done a lot of times is I do a chakra scan. So I'll go over the body and scan each one of the chakras, and I'll be able to pick up a lot from those chakra readings. I'll be able to pick up anything from people who take on too much responsibility, to people who just don't love themselves, to people who have a lot of anxiety, worry, fear, cares, people who have physical pain, people who have problems voicing their opinions, being themselves, being honest, being vulnerable, people who have no connection to the divine, maybe because they're afraid of it, maybe because they don't want it. I did a reading actually today, or a Reiki session on a girl today, and she is training to be a Reiki practitioner, and she also is a massage therapist, and her third eye was so open, like she didn't know how to ever close it. So she's in this constant state of very heightened intuition. So I just shared with her some ways that I personally use to connect or disconnect my third eye, or disconnect or connect kind of those spiritual abilities. So that was really cool. And so a lot of times you can do the chakra scan, get a lot of insight there. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to take your Reiki symbols. So everybody who is certified or attuned in Reiki, they were essentially given certain Reiki symbols to use. And those symbols can do different things. So there's a distance symbol if you're doing distance Reiki. There is a power symbol. Maybe you need some power to your throat because maybe you're afraid to share your open, honest, and vulnerable self. So maybe you need a little bit of power sent to that throat chakra so you feel confident being yourself. Maybe in the sacral chakra, you struggle with body image issues. So maybe there you need some emotional support or emotional guidance or emotional love sent to that chakra specifically. There's also a Reiki symbol that actually closes out the session and allows the Reiki practitioner's energy to disconnect from yours, because during the Reiki session, essentially universal life force energy is flowing from the Reiki, from the divine through the Reiki practitioner into you and into these different chakras. And that's one of the, pieces that really allows Reiki to be so powerful, is this concept of energy healing. So that, if you were ever wondering like how do the two tie together, Reiki a lot of times realigns your chakras and gives certain love or power symbols to those chakras that might be in need of some rebalance. So let's move on to Reiki and mental health. So I've used Reiki a ton in mental health. So one thing about me is I used to be, I no longer identify, I used to identify as a very anxious girly. I was anxious about everything. I was worried, I was fearful, I was insecure, all the things. And so I intuitively started kind of doing Reiki on myself and like sending essentially power and love and energy to certain areas of myself whenever I felt out of balance, not really knowing that that was Reiki. And so I kind of started intuitively doing this on myself. And then once I learned the Reiki symbols, I started doing daily body scans where I would go through and I would scan each area of my body. And wherever I was struggling, it always went back to something mental health. So for example, maybe I was struggling with body image, and so maybe I was struggling in my sacral chakra with body image, or with maybe wanting to look a different way or a certain way, and so I'm able to actually go in and give myself that love and healing in that area. Maybe it's that I don't feel comfortable speaking my truth or sharing, my honest opinion about something. So maybe I'm going in and I'm giving my throat chakra some power. Maybe it's that I feel like my third eye is just too open and I want to go in and I want to provide some emotional stability for my third eye, so I don't feel like I'm always on, or like I have no control over all of this, energy work that I'm doing. And so doing all of these different things has helped me to be less anxious, more fulfilled, and honestly just tapping into that universal life force energy just allows you to be so much more centered, and just allows like the mundane worries to just fade away and allows you to just refocus on what's actually important in life. So let's talk about Reiki and physical health. I've got some good stories for you guys. So whenever I first started doing Reiki on myself, I was determined I could self-heal a cavity I had. This sounds crazy, bear with me. So I'm going to Costa Rica on what happened to be a spiritual retreat. I think that's part of the reason that it worked so well, because I'm already in this area, in this environment of all of these really spiritual, in tune with their intuition, in tune with their gifts group of ladies. So I'm just like intuitively sending, like placing hands and sending like light and love towards this area where I'm pretty confident I have a really bad cavity. It's like painful, it's inflamed, it hurts to bite, all the things. So just for like the first 2 days, I just sent myself some really intense healing, light, love, Reiki energy through placing of hands, through visualization. And I had a dentist appointment when I got back from the trip because I wasn't able to get it in before I left, so I went right after. And when I went to that appointment, I didn't have pain, swelling, nothing. It was all gone. And so I went and I got my checkup done. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna tell me I have a cavity. Nothing. Everything was perfectly fine. I was like, that's crazy. Literally last week I couldn't chew. I intuitively did some Reiki on myself, and this week I don't even have anything wrong. Like, crazy. So last night I was doing Reiki on my boyfriend, and he has been struggling with his Achilles heel, and like just like it being really sore, really tight, kind of making him like limp a little bit almost. So I sent some strength to that area specifically, and this morning he called me. He was like, hey, you said you did something to like my base of my body. What did you do? And I was like, oh, well, I sent like some strength and some healing power to some different areas of your body where you generally have pain. And he was like, it's crazy because whenever you were doing it, like I know you didn't touch me, but it felt like you were like doing something to my ankles that was like healing them. I don't know how else to explain it. And then this morning when I woke up, there was like, I didn't limp, I didn't have pain, nothing. And my Achilles just feels fine. I was like, yes, I love it. So Reiki can be used for physical health, for mental health. Obviously, it should never be used as a substitution for traditional medicine. So while I'm doing all this Reiki on myself with, all the mental healing that I'm doing, I'm also still taking my anxiety medicine and going to AA and doing all these other things that I need to do. And same thing with physical. Like for example, Reiki is never to be administered over first aid. And Reiki is never to be administered on like a broken bone. It's only supposed to be administered on a bone that's already been set by traditional medicine, just to help expedite the healing process. So there's a lot of different ways Reiki can be used in mental and physical health, but I wanted to give you guys just a breakdown of what that looks like. If you guys have any questions, thoughts, how does Reiki work on this part of the body, I'll link my website. You guys will actually be able to start getting distance Reiki sessions with me by the time this video comes out, so you'll be able to sign up for those. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Be back soon for more on Reiki, and as always,